Hey, Kim here. For today's video, we're working on Lowland Kids Sunshine Dress tutorial. I'm so excited about this one. We're gonna start off by just cutting out all your pieces as usual. We're gonna need 2 front pieces, 2 back, 4 ruffle pieces if you're doing the ruffle, and then 1 skirt. This can also be a top, so the difference is just the length. So we're gonna start with the ruffle. There are 4 pieces. We're gonna place them right sides together. And then we're just gonna stitch right along that curved edge to connect the 2 pieces first. Once that is done, we're going to turn it right sides out. And now the next step is to just pin and then use a gathering stitch along that straight edge. You can also press that curved edge. I later actually decided to go and top stitch over it because I decided my fabric was kind of thick. So do whatever is best for you and your fabric. It's not necessary to top stitch it, I just wanted to. Now we're going to be taking the 2 top pieces and make sure that you have marked the pattern using, or marked the pieces using your pattern. I stuck pins in the one that I want to have being the piece that shows. The other one is like a lining. And what you're going to do is take your ruffle pieces with that gathered stitch and you're going to put them down right sides together with the bodice. And then you're going to gather your ruffles to make them fit between the 2 pins. And I'll show later the more detailed look of how I gather using my serger, because that's how I've been doing it lately and I love it. So I'll show that when I pull out the skirt part. But for here, I had just kind of already gathered it together and now I'm pinning it in place. As you can see, the placement can be tricky because the ruffle coils up a little bit, so just use as many pins or clips as you need to keep it in place. And also, you'll want to make sure that when you do take this to the serger or sewing machine that you pull all of your threads to the side so they don't get caught in between the right fabrics that will show on the outside. Once you have everything in place, then you're going to layer your other top bodice piece over top, and we're going to be stitching from this corner all the way up and around, but not the side seams. And also be careful not to catch the ruffle on that inner like neck seam. So these rounded edges can be really difficult to serge, so I just take them in sections. You can kind of see how it wasn't one continuous stitch. Now turn your top right side out. Press if needed. I pressed a little bit later, but I definitely recommend pressing it. Next, you're going to be taking your 2 back pieces and just place them right sides together, and we're going to stitch along the top. And now open that up and press it open if you'd like. So grab your front piece again, and we're going to open it up as well by lifting up that back piece so that all the right sides are up. And we're going to take your back piece now and put it right sides together over top. It's kind of a tricky one to only look at pictures of, so hopefully this video is explaining it for you. One thing I wanted to make a note of is that whatever part is on the bottom of your back piece is what is going to be showing on the outside of your dress. So just make sure it's a print that you like or that you are doing this directionally correct. And now just pin those sides together and we're going to go ahead and sew it. And once that's done, you can go ahead and turn your garment right side out. Once again, press as needed. I just saved all my ironing for the end, so that's why you don't see it done quite yet. So now we're going to pull out the skirt piece. We're going to sew along both sides, right sides together, and then you're also going to be doing a gather stitch along the top, and you're going to be hemming the bottom. So here I'm going to show you a little closer look at how I gather using my serger. First of all, go ahead and Google how to set up the setting in your machine, usually until it's changing your differential feed and the length of your stitch. I like to quarter my fabric so that I know that I'll be making sure my gathers are all evenly distributed. And then you're going to find the 2 straight stitches that are going across, not the ones that are for the looper threads, and you're going to pull them out. I like to use my seam ripper, but I turn it upside down so I don't cut the fabric. you're just wanting to pull it out, not trim or cut the threads at all. It's okay if you do, but you need something to like grip onto. So that's why you don't want to cut them if possible. You'll know you grabbed the right threads if you're able to pull on them and it makes your fabric start to gather. If you didn't get the right ones, then it's okay. Just try to figure out which ones are the right ones. Now this might seem weird, but I actually like to gather from both ends. So I'm going to the opposite side as well, and I'm pulling out the same straight stitches, and I'm going to gather in the opposite direction as well. This just helps me to make sure that when I'm gathering, I don't pull the stitches all the way out, because I don't know if you've ever done that before, but then you have to start over and it's hard, it sucks. I'll end up pulling the threads to gather skirt from both directions and have them meet up in the middle. And well, you'll see what I do after that. As it's looking like it's almost right, lay out your top so you can see how much gathering you still need to do to make the skirt match up. And then just, you know, keep gathering. It's a long process, but you know, it comes out so cute. Before attaching the skirt, I'm going to prep the bodice top by pinning it in quarters, which is pinning the two side seams together, the center front and the center back. So same thing that we did with the skirt bottom. All right, once that is ready to go, you're going to insert the bodice kind of inside of the skirt, so that you're placing the skirt right sides together with the top, and we're going to match up those pins and just adjust the gathers as needed so that it's distributed evenly and fitting properly. And just use lots of pins once you get it all in place to secure it, and you know, just not waste any of this work that you've been doing to make sure the gathers are evenly spread out. When something is gathered this much, I will take it and baste it first on my sewing machine and then serge it. One thing that I do that's kind of weird is I like to actually start on the middle where the gathers meet up, and I sew down both sides, meeting the stitches where they were originally pulled out. Oh, and look how pretty it came out. So the last step is to attach your straps. We're going to mark the center back and then measure either side for your button placement. Just check your instructions. You're going to pin your straps in place and then sew your buttons directly over through the strap and the back piece to just secure it in place. And that's it. You did it. Nice work. This is going to be a lovely summer dress. All right, a little bonus content because I discovered something new. Sewing a button on with your sewing machine. First, drop your feed dogs. Don't forget, very important. Then find your button stitch. Mine looks like this. Most buttons have the same width between the holes, so you probably don't need to change anything. But if yours is a weird size, then change the width right there. First, you're going to make sure that you got your button in place by hand turning the needle up and down to make sure that is lined up with both buttonholes. And then once you know that it does fit correctly, you can just go ahead and run the cycle. It makes knots alternating sides, and I cycled through it twice just to make sure it was ultra secure. But this was literally the easiest thing I've ever, easiest way to sew on a button I've ever done. It was amazing. You just have to cut your threads, then you're good to go. There it is. Now go take some pictures of your work, try it on your child, and love that dress. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for following. You can check me out on Instagram if you'd like at Come Create with Kim.